deemed the celebrity whisperer by Playboy.
This is the best interview of the day.
Thanks for having me.
You hit the nail on the head.
100%.
Period, yeah.
Touch them, Chris. They're cracking me up.
Wear them, baby. This is good.
Taylor Ferber.
It just would have taken one more inch, and we would have seen the assassination of a former president and a presidential nominee. In this moment of this attempted assassination, everything has changed. That bullet, that 1 inch. We were this close, to, not to be morbid, but to see President Trump's brain splattered, okay, at his rally on that stage. And now everything has changed. You have Democrats who up until this point were saying that Trump was the true threat and the end of it all, the true tyrant dictator, fascist of our time to end democracy. They're changing their tune, wishing him well and a speedy recovery. Moreover, though, we have those photos of what happened in those mere minutes that will be completely iconic, will be in history books, and like I said, have changed everything. We have hit an inflection point because this has we've felt the temperature. It was like a climax. It has just boiled over, right? To the point of somebody trying to take out a political opponent. And I think that this has really rattled and shaken everybody. How could it you have to have no feeling in your soul and your body for this to not have you shaken in a profound and serious way. We live in a democracy and you can't just gun down somebody who disagrees with you, but this encapsulates the intense, heated, divisive political culture. On the whole, you have the sane people who are really thinking, oh my gosh, I'm scared, okay? I'm shaken by this. We have to come together. And then you have those deranged people still out there who wish that this went differently, in which case they need to be mentally evaluated and put in a straitjacket immediately on cue. Stats. By the way, thank God this didn't go differently, regardless of your politics, because we would be having a much. You think that things were heated and boiled over before? We're lucky things didn't go differently, right? And you also have a nightmare for the Democrats because they're thinking, okay, they were pulling every last stop. They were trying to push Joe Biden, during his nap time out of there at any last chance, full stop to beat Trump. And now all that has changed. This is their nightmare because why? They try to impeach the guy. They try to take him off ballots, arrest him, mugshot, prosecute him. Then he is grazed by a bullet and stands up. And again, regardless of your politics, these photos cannot not make you feel something. He has blood against his face. He stands up and yes, looking for his shoes, okay?
Let me get my shoes on. Hold on.
Puts his fist in the air and says for the country to fight. If that isn't defiance and resilience and strength in the American spirit, bitch, I don't know what is, right? So needless to say, Dems are shaking in their little boots.
I think the election's over. Trump's going to win.
And it's also crazy how at the drop of a hat, just like a magician, may as well pull a rabbit out that you have, even Trump and Biden, who were the world's they were the Yankees and the Red Sox, the world's biggest adversaries and opponents who were constantly going after the other, that the other was a true threat to democracy and the end to it all, and dictators over time and this and that, who are now writing each other letters from summer camp, Biden wishing Trump a safe recovery. So I guess he wasn't that big of a threat. We're gonna get to that in a minute. That we were led to believe, what a change of tune. My God, it is the Music Man, and this is a change of tune if I ever saw one. But you have both of them promising to unify. I mean, you even have Trump now, like who is now a man of God. He is now he in that moment. And look, I may or may not be mocking it that much. He saw Jesus. Jesus went and took the wheel. You know, the wheel that was Trump's shoes. No, in that otherwise seriously horrifying moment, he's saying in his first interview that this was all because of God. In that very moment, the timing seriously was insane that he happened to turn to the right, his head an inch turned to look at a presentation he normally never has. Like, you can't say that isn't some sort of divine intervention, whatever you believe in, right? But Trump now saying that he's changed his whole speech. His speeches aren't going to be just about how bad Biden is. It's now going to be about unifying us and how he's like a man of God. Like everything has changed, right? So it took this one event to catalyze all of this, right? That really, unfortunately, maybe it took this. Maybe it really took this, because how much longer could we have gone on in that environment? It was tearing the very fabric of our society. We were literally a bunch of uncivilized Neanderthals. People are losing family members, friends, Karens on Facebook having a field day. Nobody could discuss anything civilly. And it was so sad. It's so heavy. And so maybe it took all of this for us to really evaluate and look at how we have done this. Yes, the people on both sides are to blame, but how we have done this. Right? But on a happier note, on a positive note, how we can really step back and look at ourselves and change things. Because like I said, if you don't feel something for this, like, babe, you're a lost cause. I'm a little scared. Like, come see me in my office, okay? Because I don't even know about you. You don't have to be a political expert to see all of this, right? Because it's really underneath all of it in pop culture, in our culture day to day, how we interact, which we're going to get to. But first, the political sphere, which we all know, right? Like this, none of this is nothing new, but I'm going to tell you, talk to me Taylor style. It's why you called. I'm here to pick up. I'm here to deliver. I know it's a sensitive time, but both sides are to blame for this, okay? They sadly have, whether it be politicians, whether it be Trump, Biden, journalists, Congress people, governors, all of them have perpetuated this very war that sadly has boiled over to this, because they both were opportunistic in this way, really, in feeding the culture war, because it's sexy. It's what gets drive. It riles up their base. And it's unacceptable. You cannot demonize, and it's so hypocritical, because both the entire time are like, this is a threat to democracy. A democracy is where you can safely state your views and be heard in a respectful way. And both sides completely demonized and destroyed the other, and therefore their neighbors. Again, when you look at the whole threat to democracy thing, let's be real, neither Trump nor Biden would end democracy, guys, right? But you had both feeding us with this over and over and over. So someone's going to think it's their moral duty to take the other out, right? You had Biden and his camp, who for years pushed that Trump was a fascist dictator, a Nazi, a Hitler, who was going to end democracy and jail people and this and that. Again, try to get him off the ballot, try to arrest him. It's like, what I could see that. It's like, okay, is that democracy? You arrest a political opponent?
What, in your view, constitutes the primary threat to freedom and democracy at home?
Donald Trump.
Like, what are we even saying? What do we do? Like, what does this look like, babe? Like, is this a third world country? Unacceptable, right? And Trump and his camp have said the same thing about Joe Biden, right? That crooked Joe and the radical left, will censor and stop the steal and do whatever it is they have to do.
Because Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He's the threat to democracy.
Even I think just a day or two before, Joe Biden had rhetoric like, put Trump in a bullseye. It's just not okay. Even now you have pundits turning it around and saying that Trump is to blame for rhetoric and riling all this up. And everybody did this, And to Tulsi Gabbard's point, what is so fascinating and so crazy is that you had people like Joe Biden and his camp. Like, I saw a list of tweets for years, like month after month, he will destroy single-handedly, destroy. It'll be the end of it as we know. It'll be destroy everything, destroy democracy. Now this happened, this horrible and unfortunate and scary thing. And now Joe Biden, the Clintons, AOC, all these people are saying, oh, this is never okay, political violence, hoping for a speedy recovery. If this was really a Hitler, wouldn't you high key be like, honestly, though, this person would have been an existential threat and demise to everything we know. So, yeah, maybe you probably wouldn't be wishing for their speedy recovery. So it couldn't possibly be that you guys didn't believe all that and you were firing everybody up, right? Right? Where is the lie? So that's what's so crazy. And the finger pointing, and even still, you guys, there is nonsense being perpetuated in the culture wars. You have now a whole discussion about the Secret Service being an apocalyptic failure that day and failing to act more quickly. So what do you have? Now you have a whole conversation about DEI and how they want to have the head of the Secret Service, who's a woman, testify about how there were inappropriately, women Secret Service leaders who were smaller than Trump, who couldn't protect him, who looked disheveled and who looked incompetent and couldn't do their jobs. So now it's this whole war on that. You have I think it's an MSNBC show, but Morning Joe, that show was pulled. I'm shooting this on Monday. That show was pulled because they were afraid that the anchors would say something inappropriate online. You even have a Democratic staffer. She was fired, but she was a staffer for a congressman who said something to the effect of, next time, get it right. Next time, don't miss, right? Which I've seen those comments online, which are absolutely abhorrent. Again, regardless of your politics, that is just unacceptable, full stop, not okay. And I think what upsets me the most about all of this is ragging on America. And I see these comments online insinuating, you kind of ask for it because America, it was founded on violence and colonialism and therefore is inherently violent. And so what do you expect until, all lives really matter and this, that, and the other thing and blah, blah, blah. You deserve this. You asked for this. And that actually really upsets me on a deep level because these people are so entitled and ignorant. They have no idea. We are so sheltered here from being truly a war-torn country. We are propped up, doing TikTok videos of silly dances and our smoothies and our makeup routines and our this and our that. You have no idea what it's like to be in a place with true survival and violence on a daily basis. Hence why so many people are flocking here. And that's really unacceptable to throw America under the bus like that. This happened. It shook us. And fortunately or unfortunately, like Ferris Bueller said, life moves pretty fast, and if you don't stop and look around, the news cycle is going to dupe your ass.
Gotcha, bitch.
Because you're going to feel crazy. 1 minute, again, they're trying to take each other out, doing everything they can. The next, they're wishing each other, you feel gaslit. You feel all kinds of things. Everyone's getting back to their real life. People are watching sporting events. People are doing things, right? But this is where in the real life, where this all comes into play, where these interactions are all fucked up. Again, where family members can't even have civil discourse over a dinner. No dinner party is safe, right? Where people can't even discuss things civilly online, where cyberbullying and teen suicide is at an all-time high. It is all just sad. And so this is where it seeps in to the day-to-day of our real lives. And it's not just buzzy headlines and, big, larger than life political figures. This is where it's very real and where sadly we've let what just happened happen. We do the exact thing in pop culture as we do in politics. And underlying politics is pop culture. Pop culture sets the tone for politics. It's not the other way around. Even what happened was a real shocking, but not so shocking, unfortunately, symptom to all of this and this divisiveness, right? And this just torn up culture. And so you think about even pop culture examples where this is true, where it's it has to be all in or nobody has any chill. It is all in or nothing. It's all this or that. It's one extreme or the other. So I have a couple examples here. And the first up at bat, you know, I don't know about baseball yet because we haven't crossed that bridge, but is the trans issue, right? Again, you're either all in or you're demonized, and you're demonized one way or the other. I'll tell you, I've actually interviewed some of the most high profile people in this realm. Okay. I've interviewed people on one side, so to speak, like the Riley Gaines, who is a super conservative activist. She was an NCAA champion, and she really rose to notoriety because she tied with Leah Thomas, who is a trans swimmer, in the NCAA championship, and they gave the trophy to Leah. And Riley came on my show and talked about that trying experience, and is a big advocate for biological women in sports, right? And drawing a line there. I've also interviewed people, some of the most high-profile trans people. I've interviewed Caitlyn Jenner. I've interviewed Gigi Gorgeous. I've interviewed Blair White.
She's like, I'm digging this cleave, though. I'm digging this cleave. Let me check out myself, a little selfie action. I have been staring at your boobs the whole time you're just doing that interview. They're out. I'm so scared they're going to come out. I'll do a little cleave with you, but I gotta, there we go. Aerial view.
And Gigi Gorgeous especially, she really talked to me about what makes her feel gorgeous, right on the nose, and what makes her feel really sexy and good in her skin. And same thing with Blair White. And it was so funny, like even as a biological female, right? Things like, you know, wearing heels and getting a little tipsy for my man, like talk about the greatest unifier of our time. But there's validity in both of these groups, if you will, right? And because that's the truth. The human experience is a range. Like it ain't this, it ain't that. It's not black or white like that. You know, contrary to identity politics, which we love oh so much. And you have it now in these boxes where, again, like nothing can have any moderation. So if you're like a right-wing conservative, you're a fascist and you're discriminatory and you're a transphobe. And it's out of control. You know, if you're a trans person or advocate for their well-being or rights or livelihood in any way, that's just absolutely insane and ludicrous, and that all trans people are just mentally ill, like what Candace Owens just told Don Lemon, literally word for word. That is the only explanation, is that they have a mental illness and they need to be diagnosed and treated. So again, neither of those extremes are necessarily true. And it's sad. And it's so many other like heavier issues, but even like you think about Me Too, right? Like with Me Too, all men are bad. Again, the extremes, all men inherently bad. When you think about race, diversity, everybody who is a white person walking, breathing are inherently bad and evil. White people are bad. Hence the Oscars so white. So now we're going to plug in this. Like it has to be all extreme, all in, or nothing. And the truth is, none of these extremes clearly are helping anybody move the needle, are helping any of us, right? Because none of that actually reflects reality. So where is it getting us? Comedy is the one safe space. And we've even managed to ruin that. Like that is the one saving grace of culture. Like, babe, this isn't the Soviet Union. And now we have people where it's like, you can't even joke anymore. I think about this all of the time. Imagine things like Wedding Crashers or, you know, Animal House or White Chicks for that matter. Like now comedians are scared to say anything. Dave Chappelle's, who are crucified, threatened to take their specials off, afraid to say anything. And if comedians, like they're the one group of people who are allowed and should be to look at the awkward, uncomfortable parts of our society and call it out and help us laugh. And if we lose them, we are fucked with a capital F. No joke, we are fucked.
Fucked. We're not fucked. We are totally fucked.
Right? And it gets me thinking about all of the times when I've you know, talked to big people in the comedy world and game-changing iconic people about this. Like, I'll never forget when I talked to Ray Romano and it was on the cusp of cancel culture, and he made a joke. Like, if everybody were, like, you have to be able to push the envelope. You have to be able to take a risk. If everybody would be me, that would be boring.
That's where we are right now. Some people believe it's either all okay or it's not, or none of it's okay.
It's groupthink. Yeah. It's scaring me, right?
Yeah.
Could you guys imagine if everybody was a Ray Romano? Like, we would be sleeping. Like, love a Ray moment. But by his own admission, like, that shit would be white and bread as sliced white Wonder Bread gets. I mean, like, that would be boring. And that's why even when I had Josh Duhamel on my show and Kevin Dillon to talk about their movie Buddy Games, I was shocked because it hits at every taboo topic. This was just last year.
We're not allowed to talk about this stuff anymore because everything is asexual.
Oh, you just said biology. I got a boner.
Me too. And Josh said, he was the director, and he said, you have to be able to lighten up and laugh at these things. And it's sad that that was even a rarity, right? Like, I was shocked for something like that to be a product of Woketopia Hollywood. I'm like, that takes some balls. But sadly, it shouldn't take balls. It should be the norm. We have to be able to go there, because if we're all stifled in speech and worse thought and even worse comedy, that is not a world that I want to be in. Late night are all like, why are they like, they are all ringed out. Like, you just did your laundry, boring, like out of the washing machine, boring, all one step after the other, boring. Late night sucks. Not even funny anymore. Even I got really excited. Like, my panties were feeling a type of way about the Tom Brady roast for more reasons than one. But that was something where my jaw was on the floor, because I was like, oh my God, like, they are going for, this is unheard of in this day and age when everyone's afraid to say anything. And they really went for it. And even that, right? Like, you had Tom Brady after that. I was like, legend Tom Brady for like the GOAT in more ways than one.
We're not laughing about things, we're crying. And I think we should have more fun. Like, the guys, like, what do we love? We love laughing in the locker room. Let's do more of that.
Because he just let everyone just go there. And even after the fact, like, he came out and kind of backtracked, and it was sort of like a one and done. Like, we haven't seen now, it kind of like, everyone was like, oh my God, cancel culture is over. And is it though? Because we haven't seen anything like it since. So was it just like a flash in the pan? So that is like one really sad way that this has just dampened our spirits, right? And our society on the whole. Going off of that, and my last bucket on this is social media. And let's not lie, guys, social media and interacting on there has been goddamn brutal. Everybody has an opinion, and everybody's ruthless, right? You think I have a fun time dealing with the haters in my it is not a good time. Like, we are not having fun here, right? And people say things that they would never say to you to your face. And people are just shameless, And I got really a brush of this when I had my whole Chrissy Teigen confrontation, which some of you may know about. I called her out in a piece for VH1 a while back, 8 years ago, calling her a bully on Twitter. And she then, essentially cancel culture before its time, tried to get me fired, was calling me out on social media. And it became this entire thing where I saw immediately people kind of segregate into their camps, right? And it's always like a war. And I never even intended for it to be that way. My whole point, and it's still to this day, is cancel culture and the narratives and the camps and all of it doesn't get us anywhere. And that's why I was against her bullying to begin with, like a meta moment, call me Mark Zuckerberg, because I just didn't like that inflammatory use of language and of social media to perpetuate that cyclical, really sad bullying culture, right? So I would never want, even still to this day, people are like, oh, fuck Chrissy Teigen. Yeah, like, I'm on your side. And I never was advocating for that or wanting that, right? But that's how far we've come. And I know I get swept up in it. And I know you all get swept up in it too, okay? Don't forget. Talk to me. I may be sitting here with my red phone, my sign, my this, my that. Talk to me. Taylor's always watching. I'm under your bed. I'm here, there. I'm everywhere. I may as well be here underwear. I see you all getting wrapped up in the moment and wanting to write things back and feeling heated and being in a confrontation on Facebook, Instagram, wherever it may be, right? And it's really rough. And the fact that everybody thinks that they can just degrade everybody on their life choices, again, as if everybody is their adversary. As if everybody is their opponent, whether it be how they parent, how they look, middle-aged older women looking hot on Instagram, their political views, all of it. People just tearing each other down and criticizing. And for what? Like, we have all done this. So we can point fingers all day at Sleepy Joe or the big orange man or whoever it may be, but we have done this. And so without running the risk of truly becoming a bunch of uncivilized wildebeests, I say that we take this moment, like quit being a Judge Judy, take a step back and really recalibrate, right? So to bring it all back to the big picture and what just happened. Again, this was so shocking. Like you could just feel it. I can feel it. I can just feel it in the air. And that we haven't had a presidential assassination attempt in 40 years. You know, I never thought I would see this in my lifetime. And you have, like I said, so many people coming out who are notoriously private, saying the same sentiment of we have to come together.
I don't support Trump or Biden, but the man got shot in the ear, head, whatever you guys want to call it, and then fist bumped in the air. That is sick, dude.
You know, this has to bring us together. Like, I'm truly shaken by this. What could really change? Because if we're headed in this direction, like I hope to God, maybe it was the God that came down, you know, and like shuffled Trump's toupee back into place that day. But no, honestly, that was legendary. But to help us unify, right, and move forward. Because like I said, we live in the luxury of being somewhat, you know, in a bubble and privilege. We don't know what it's like to be in a war-torn place. And that's where we would be headed. I don't know if you guys saw the movie Civil War, but it's new and it was super controversial and it shows what it would be like. And it takes political lines out of it and kind of leaves it ambiguous. But it does not let you get a second to breathe. It does not take you out of it. And that's what it would actually be like, you know? And so with all of this, I really think about, you know, we always talk about democracy, America, this, that, or the other thing. And what we all want and need is to be seen and heard with respect. And in the end, again, in our day-to-day reactions, whether it be with loved ones, family, friends, like we're tearing each other and ourselves apart. And the truth is, who is really happy? Like, who is really happy with this? When you think about it, here, how about this? In the unhappy anonymous, but actually not so anonymous, I, Taylor, will go first. Am I happy getting comments from haters online on social media who know nothing about me? Absolutely not. Am I happy in an uncomfortable moment at the dinner table over a political issue in a tense moment? No. Am I happy going off with road rage on some idiot who can't drive? No. You know, how many of us are truly so unhappy and don't know how to interact and how to coexist, right? In a harmonious way. Think about men. Are you guys happy unknowingly fumbling around figuring out how to talk to women? No, women. Are you happy getting shit one way or the other? You're getting shit because you're, you know, a stay-at-home mom and therefore stereotyped as lazy and useless? Or are you unhappy because, you know, you're still single and in your 40s and you're going to be a barren spinster your whole life? I mean, who is really happy? And at the end of the day, guys, we are just in such hard, heavy times, right? Life is hard enough. So why do we do this to each other? And it's sad because it wasn't always this way. That's why we get so nostalgic about better, lighter, happier times. Because it's really hard. It's hard times right now. And we're just doing this to ourselves and to each other. And at the end of the day, we all deserve and want a more joyous experience. We have enough outside adversaries coming at us. Where do I get started? We have Vladdy Putin. Okay, we have Xi Jinping, Gigi. We have Kim Jong-un. Like, they may as well be a Hadid Kardashian clan. So we need to really come together. I know it sounds cheesy. As Americans first, do you really want to be a hater? What is that giving you after all? So kumbaya, good riddance to the haters, and let's make this a world that we want to be in, that we have to live in, and that our kids have to live in. And I'm calling on even the Joe Bidens and the Trumps, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, hey? Bring us together and give us a chance at this world that we want and that we deserve. It is absolutely time.